Okay, here we go. All right. Yes, another one of these type videos. These are things wrong in comics and comics related in 2023. I've been doing this now for about 5 or 6 years now, and I gotta say, this year, well, there was a good amount of bad this past year, but some good stuff. Don't worry, that'll have another video. Yep. Yeah, we're starting with bad because basically I just really want to get this out of the way. Because one thing I forgot to put on this list is the continued inflation. Yes, I did not mention this the last couple of years because it's been more of an issue recently with stuff prices going up on everything, and I'm listening basically first thing to talk about here. Comics has not been affected very much per se, where prices not go up not that drastically per se, but I had to bring up because some people are just also barely affording to like buy anything like groceries because stuff is costing way too much nowadays because of inflation. Of course, some people blame the rise of prices on corporate greed. That's not the case. It's inflation. Inflation has gone up in the last 2 years. The reason I have heard the reason why that stuff has gone up, why inflation has gone up, is because still people are not going back to work. And you're thinking, COVID's not really a big thing anymore. Some people think are just still not safe. I still have people come in today basically wearing masks, even though it's not really necessary to wear masks anymore. Yes, so to put it out there, the raise of prices is not due to corporate greed, it's due to inflation. Inflation is the way it's supposed to work, it's supposed to go up 0.1% every year. That is how it's supposed to work. In the last 2 years, inflation has gone up 5% in the past 2 years. That is what I've heard. Basically, economics is so screwed up, basically, because DC politics. But we're not there. Moving on from that. Okay, but the first major thing to talk about when it comes to this year is for comics and comics related that are wrong, that are basically bad stuff, is the apparent fall of the MCU. What am I talking about, you might ask? Why, that Variety article that came out this year where, get this, where in the MCU production in the past couple years has been accused of not putting scripts in properly, not basically anything related to movies is not being done properly. In the proper procedure, stuff being rushed, and also what happened with Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I did not see. I've heard people describe it as half-baked. Yes, half-baked. The fact that movie didn't do too well at the box office. The Marvels didn't do too well, but Guardians of the Galaxy did pretty well. Yes. And also the fact there was like, oh my gosh. And the fact that Bob Iger in the past year or two has become the biggest idiot, biggest corporate buffoon I have ever seen. The fact he accuses the governor of this state of being anti-Florida and anti-business, which is complete bullcrap on his part. The fact that Disney thought it a good idea for Mulan to praise a concentration camp in China as it prays for Mulan. Oh my gosh. I can talk more about Disney, but people have talked about Disney that the really terrible stuff that they've done the past couple of years. In fact, the MCU has not been the same the past couple of years. I had one person, oh yeah, the fact that Endgame was the last really good movie. Despite the fact there have been some good movies. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was really good. So, I had to bring this up first because otherwise people was like, why'd you get this up first? Because, well, there's that. Okay, the other stuff. A book that came out just last month. I had to bring this up. My friend Tivia is going to be talking more about this on the worst comics that came out this past year. X-Men Blue Origins. The apparent true origin of Nightcrawler. I read this comic. The artwork is pretty good. The story is a piece of garbage. The fact that I don't know whose bright idea this was to do this comic, where the fact that you had Mystique getting Destiny pregnant, and the way they explain it, like, that's not how pregnancy works at all. It's like basically Si Spurrier took inspiration, like partial inspiration from Chris Claremont's original idea from Nightcrawler's backstory. And I read this comic, I'm like, yeah, this is a bullcrap lie. I don't buy this at all as basically Nightcrawler's true backstory. Because it is nothing more than a piece of garbage. They claim, oh, Destiny's his mom too, even though it makes no freaking sense at all. How do you explain all the demon traits? The tail, the ears. Does it come from Mystique? No. Mystique gave him the blue skin. And the eyes. That's it. I'm more believing Azazel's his father. Like the way Si Spurrier, like, oh, Azazel's not your father at all. Even though he is. This, I'm sure a lot of people probably wrote this book off as nothing more than a writer being told to write a bullcrap story to appease some idiot at Marvel Comics. Some higher ups, they probably love this idea of basically an origin story. And anybody who read this comic probably felt disgusted. The fact this comic was a piece of garbage, and probably by far one of the worst comics I've read this past year. My gosh, this comic was bad. The only thing good about was the artwork. That was it. Yeah, Mystique. Oh yeah, it's like basically you read the comic and it's like, yeah, this is basically Mystique trying to get Nightcrawler to leave her alone. So so she tells him a bullcrap story to get him to leave her alone. Despite the fact Nightcrawler is her son. And the thing is, Mystique is written over the years, a lot of times she's never given a damn about her own son. Or any of her two sons she's actually had. The only kid she cares about is Rogue, her adopted daughter. She cares about her, does not give a damn about her sons. At all. That's why she's written over the years. And her tell this bullcrap story, it shows more the fact that Mystique is a terrible mom. Yeah. Alright. Now, this is something that's not exactly comic related, but it's somebody who has written comics. That being CM Punk. In 2022, we have Brawl Out. A controversial thing, a backstage fight that happened at All Out due to CM Punk's comments he made during a media scrum. This time, it was not his fault. He was provoked to do this nonsense. So we have former Jungle Boy Jack Perry say a line during a match. It says, "Real glass, cry me a river." And from what I've heard, CM Punk was not happy. Like, he was not very happy camper that day. Because his ride didn't show up. The fact he tried to contact AEW offices. And the fact that nobody answered. Which sounds like a bunch of nonsense. The fact he had to take the subway, take the tube, just to go to Wembley Stadium, and the fans reckon where the heck he's supposed to go. And also, I've also heard stuff related to, like, the person who does travel is a big Young Bucks fan because he dares say something bad about the Young Bucks. He basically screwed up his freaking child plans. And so, the story I've heard was that Jungle Boy was going to do a glass spot on Collision. Which, despite the fact he was given okay for one people, we have a situation where the left hand did not tell what the right hand was doing. What left hand was not telling the right hand what they were doing. So CM Punk was asked after some producers told him, "No, you can't do this." CM Punk told him he can't do this. And because he didn't lie, because he wanted time off to go on vacation, go to Hawaii, which he got approved for. And so, CM Punk, when he got back to Gorilla, he proceeded to basically throw him against a bunch of monitors. And he basically just choked him out. And then he apparently lunged at Tony Khan. And then later on it was revealed I think it was at a later press scrum, that not long after this happened, like the following week. So not like just a few days after this stuff happened, CM Punk got fired, and the announcement was made in his hometown of Chicago, which he kind of got booed for that. Jungle Boy Jack Perry got suspended indefinitely for this nonsense. And then, by the way, this was actually in early September. 2 months later, he shows up at Survivor Series at the end of a really good War Games match. I watched that War Games match, basically a replay. Yeah, the men's War Games match where we had Cody Rhodes, the One Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, who apparently was the cause of this whole match in the first place, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton, who made his return, against the Judgment Day, which is comprised of Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dirty Dom Mysterio, and, well, Jay McDonald with Drew McIntyre. Yeah. A great War Games match. I loved it. That was a really fun one. The women's one was pretty decent, but I loved the War Games one for men. And then we had, like, okay, we're about to cut out Perry's win, and then CM Punk shows up. Which no one until I got the fact that people suspect that he was going to show up because it was Chicago. Because anytime that either AEW or WWE goes to Chicago, oh, CM Punk's going to show up. And he did. So then he laid on sides for Raw and into the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Now, from what, and of course, apparently it was later revealed that Bryan Danielson was on the committee that informed, basically made the decision to have Punk fired for cause. And the thing is, there was no malice behind it. Apparently, Punk had no problem with it at all. A lot of people were not happy with Tony Khan. People call him a wimp for basically stuff like this. Yeah. But this happened in London. Not in Chicago this time, in frickin' London. Alright. Next up is something that a lot of people hated Marvel for doing this. Okay, let's have it where we kill off Kamala Khan for no reason, and then 2 months later, bring it back thanks to Resurrection Protocols. Because somebody at Marvel really want to make Miss Marvel a mutant, despite the fact when she made her debut, she was confirmed to be Inhuman. Yeah, this was a really dumb idea in the first place. The fact that the issue she died was drawn horribly by John Romita Jr. The fact that the first time we saw the Fantastic Four read that she died, they gave the expression of, they don't freaking care. And then they gave a damn. Like, it was such a really bad idea. And now apparently this movie has never been confirmed on comics. Never confirmed. And I'm trying to say this. The fact that Miss Marvel has now been revived, and now she apparently is a half mutant, half Inhuman hybrid. Somehow, someway she is. And the other reason why she was revived was suggested by Cyclops because he was a champion thanks to time displacement stuff. Yep. Alright, next up is Marvel's OP of these events. You have Gotham War. Oh my gosh. It was like Dark Droids, which is nobody's major story for Star Wars. There was a lot of major storylines this year. I think last year there was just Judgment Day and like 1 or 2 else. But this year, wow. Oh my gosh. Like this year alone, it felt as though Marvel was just ODing on this stuff. And you're thinking, how would you figure that? Well, there we go. So in the case of this year, no major comic wide ones this year, which is this past year was surprised. And though next year we got Blood Hunt. Yep. But major storylines this very year, we had Contest of Chaos, Web of Vengeance. These are minor ones, but I had to bring these up. Anything else? Well, let's see. You had Tribulation, stuff with Timeless, and that was like Avenger stuff. X-Men had. Well, you have Fall of X, obviously. Yep. Fall of X and Sins of Sinister. You had this particular thing. Mm-hmm. For Spider-Man, you had just Gang War. And that was it. But I feel like more than the previous year, which is something. But this was for line wide. This is I should point out though, this is the first time this particular year didn't have a line wide event. This first time since 2018. There's not been one because 2019 to 2022 we've had line wide events. And you're thinking, huh, interesting. Because here's the thing. Prior to that, there was a several year stretch. Or from 2010 to like 2017. 8 years straight we gotta have these line wide events. And then 2018, nothing. Really? Yeah, that I thought was quite something, but basically a lot of these small events, there's like 5 of them. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Of course, Marvel did cancel comics this year. Don't know why, but hey, at least Guardians of the Galaxy came back this year, which is nice. Alright, not much else to talk about there. Next up is Green Lantern Alan Scott. It's an interesting comic per se. It's just that the biggest problem with the book is that Tim Sheridan, the writer of the book, hyped up as a gay Green Lantern book. Now, I myself, probably a lot of people point this out though, Prime Universe Alan Scott does not need to be gay. Nope. No, he does not. There is no reason for this at all. I think this was a really stupid idea. I don't know who exactly came up with this idea in the first place, but if I could find it out, I would love to know whose idea this was, because this was an absolute stupid idea to make him gay. And the fact that the story gets spoiled in the pages of Just Like America. Yeah. Alright, next up is something people have been talking about for months. The fall of IDW. Yes. IDW this year has received a fair bit of basically controversial scandals this year. I heard one would seem outrageous. The fact that one of the executives was a sugar daddy. Yes, seriously. The fact that this year also they lost most of their licenses for their comics. Like Osaga Jimbo is gone. So currently they have 3 major licenses because all of us, G.I. Joe's gone, Transformers is gone. Anything Hasbro related, all gone. So, what is left for them? There's technically only 4 left. You have Turtles, Star Trek, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Godzilla. That's it. There's not really a lot left pop-ups for them, because one thing that got me interested in IDW was the license for like all the classic 80s, 90s nostalgia. Nowadays, with the exception of those 4 licenses, I only read like 3 of them. Like, I read Turtles, I read Godzilla, I read also Star Trek, which I've heard some current segments described as woke recently. I don't read Sonic because I've never had interest in reading Sonic at all. But those are the things keep it IDW afloat nowadays, because everything else is practically gone. And yeah, the fact that this also was, I think also heard was a embezzling scheme going on too. Yeah, the higher ups of IDW are being out to be these complete idiots. Yeah. this is something I complain about constantly this year. Like the lack of comic books released by Valiant Entertainment this year. Like in the period of 1 year, I think IDW only released about 6 comics in an entire year. I think the last comic published back in March, and that was like X-Men War Unleashed #2. And some of the stuff is not even finished publishing yet. I'm like, what the heck happened? And like, so maybe there's a lack of maybe lost some steam. Not really, no. Valiant publishes good stuff. Like, I've never come across a bad thing from them. Like, why in the world will nothing publish them this year? Just something. Mm-hmm. Next up, this is a really big one that happened just this year. And I would love to know the reason behind this. Because here's kind of the thing. Marvel lost Conan the Barbarian this year. Yes. After they got it back, I think it was back in 2018 we brought this back. Yeah, I believe it was 2018. I think it was like 2018. They brought him back. He got brought back in Marvel Universe as a whole thanks to No Road Home. He got like... You got like 2 major ongoing series to start with, 2 miniseries. Marvel did a really good job with them. And then like just stopped. I think like last comic published was King Conan. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. But I'm going to have to stop right here because Daniel's ready. I'll be head back part 2 of this. Okay, next video.